Okay, so you may be wondering, ASpec, why exactly are you re-uploading this video? Well, after reviewing today's video, I came to the conclusion that making content in about 20 minutes flat at 9 o'clock in the morning just because I have to go to a meeting and I feel the necessity of actually putting out a video today to appease my viewers may not have been the best of ideas. So I thought to myself, you know what? Based on some of the comments and basically reviewing the video myself and realizing that there was a lot of material in the previous version of this that was completely and utterly incorrect. Obviously, I strive to be a channel that nurtures basically a learning process, and I think that is really important to build a community and, of course, to make the player experience solid. So I've retracted the previous version of this video, and I am going to re-upload this. Well, obviously, you've already watching it, so there it is. Obviously, if you've seen the previous version, you don't feel that you need to watch it. Feel free to ignore this video. It is not important. There's a couple of minor things that are different here. Anyway, let's get on the way here with Civics. This is a new system introduced in 1.6. It basically involves the creation of your species with these new options, options that change based on your ethics and also your authority. Authority is also a new system that I will also include in this video. Authority is basically what replaces the old government system, as the civics are an extension of that. So no longer do you have plutocratic empires. Well, you still have plutocratic empires, but like despotics, etc., etc. So the original 12 are no longer there. You now have a pick of 6, and your government is being generated based on the civics that you have available plus your ethics. So this is now a new system in 1.6. If you've picked up the game since then 1.5, my apology, came out, then this will be completely non-new to you, because for some players like myself that have clocked over 7 hours on this, this is completely new. So let's get underway. So we've got democratic, which is your standard democracy. For every 10 years just selected ruler, which is pretty crazy considering pretty much most key democracies, well, the biggest democracy that people think of these days, the United States of America, has a election every 4 years. Oligarchy, which is basically a group of rulers that has an election every 40 to 50 years. Dictatorial, which is a ruler that rules unto death. Imperial, that is obviously just imperial. And that is basically it. You can obviously change all of these through the government changing screen, and we'll get to that shortly. Anyway, let's take a look at our civics. So we start off at the top of the list with meritocracy, which is the effect of leader skill levels +1, as well as the leader pool size +1. Start of the game, quite decent. Obviously, it's only available if you're democratic or oligarchic. Pretty damn good at the start if you want to get scientists out really quickly, and you need a lot of scientists to survey stuff in combination with, say, the discovery tree. Obviously, you can change this out. Maybe in the mid-game, when you're past the start of the game, you can like swap this out as well if you need more leaders. If they start dying off, because obviously that is a thing as well. Especially your standard races, they start dying off relatively quickly after about 70 years. If you're fleeting, it's generally after 50 years already. Police state is unrest -20. Pretty good. Not really something that really comes to mind. I haven't had much trouble with unrest, mainly because I just oppress the population anyway. Cannot have it when you're a fanatic egalitarian. Pretty good if you're pretty late game, or well, mid game once you start conquering your first worlds, and you have a lot of ethics divergence, and this becomes a problem. Say you have been abusing the corporate colony ship a little bit too much with non-ethical, well, different ethical pops within your empire. Environmentalist consumer goods cost -20%. Pretty good if you're running like utopian style goods. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I never had any problems with goods, mainly because I optimize my empires to generate a metric ton of minerals, so it's not really a problem. Cutthroat politics, monthly influence +1. Really good. Especially if you have a very diverse empire with a lot of ethics floating around and you're not able to manage your factions really well. +1 influence is a boon, especially in combination with, say, you have your outposts, your frontier outposts. You know, +1 in combination with the expansion tree in the traditions, this is basically 2 free outposts. Pretty good. Of course, in combination with some other stuff, you can really push the boundary with this when it comes to using influence on all sorts of things like policies or local decrees, etc. Edicts, obviously. Shadow Council, election influence cost -50. If you're running an oligarchy like these guys or the democracy like these guys, these are going to be very useful because you'll be able to lower the amount of cost involved with this. Has democratic oligarchy or imperial authority. Imperial authority as well. Interesting. Did not actually see that one coming. Election influence cost. Fascinating. Mining guilds. A lot of people in the chat were saying this is probably one of the best ones in the game. Empire mineral production +10 is a massive amount, especially once you start making hundreds of minerals. You get a ton of additional minerals out of it. Myself, while I always say that minerals are a key element of the start of the game, overall, it's pretty good. But overall, I'd pick it for, say, a mid-game switch out. Parliamentary system, faction influence game +50. Can only be done with democracies. Pretty decent. I like it quite a lot. Efficient bureaucracy, core system sectors +2. Very good for beginning players, to say the least. If you're a beginning player and you're just like, yo, I want to play with more core systems, or I want to min-max or micromanage my planets a little bit more and don't want to hand them over towards sectors, this is great to have, especially in combination with the expansion trees, as well as some of the ascendancy perks, which are Utopia only. Functional architecture, building cost -15, huge boon. A lot of the late game buildings are pretty expensive. -15, very, very good, especially once you start building empire capital buildings, etc. Those are very, very expensive. Syncretic evolution is a whole new way to play. It replaces a bunch of your pops with a subservient race. Basically, let's say if Neanderthal never went extinct and they become a subservient race to Homo sapiens, that's basically what this would be. 4 pops of being of another subservient race. It's a nice little introduction into some of the biological ascension stuff that's going on, and you can obviously min-max stuff even more later on through the use of genetic engineering. Imperial cults. You need to be imperial, you need to be authoritarian, and you need to be spiritualist. Edict cost -33%. Very good, very strong, especially if you're using a lot of edicts, especially if you're using the Holy World's ascendancy perk. Very good. Very good indeed. Beacon of Liberty, monthly unity +15%. Awesome. Any sort of flat percentage bonuses to me are amazing. Anything that involves just +1 or +2 of something, aside from the influence one, this one, that one is not really one I would give an example there, but a +15% monthly unity bonus is huge, especially in the mid-game. You can swap this one out for something else, or at least swap this one in and get a +15 unity boost, which is pretty good when it comes to generating a lot more unity, or a lot faster to get towards those traditions. Exalted Priesthood. Government ethics attraction +20. You must be oligarchy, and you must be some spiritualism in there. Any sort of government ethics that you have, like your core ethics that are basically displayed here, they will have more attraction, so it's easier to manage your faction in the game, or factions in the game. Philosopher King. This is the one where I messed up on the previous video. Ruler skill levels. I thought it said a leader. Ruler skill levels +2. That means you will have a stronger ruler at the start of the game. Means you have better unity generation as well as lower edicts costs, which is pretty damn good. It can only be dictatorial or imperial authority. Overall, though, pretty good. Although once your leaders start to become immortal due to various ascensions, it no longer becomes too useful because, obviously you will already have a +5 ruler. So swap it out and get something else. Citizen service, the most, service guarantees a citizenship sort of approach. Starship Troopers is pretty much what this is. Naval capacity +15. Service guarantees citizenship, as it says also in the thing. Naval capacity +15%. Yeah, it's all right. Personally, I never had any problems with naval capacity, but if you're running into problems versus larger empires, swapping this out is probably quite good, because obviously it's a percentage bonus, so that's quite nice. Technocracy, research alternatives +1, so you can more easily find the technology that you are looking for. Obviously, the options are randomized, so having more options from the randomized tree is always useful. Very useful at the start of the game, actually, so that you can more easily guide your technological progress, basically. Idealistic Foundation, Citizen Pop Happiness +5. It's a happiness bonus. It's great. It gives you more of everything. Slaver Guilds, Slave Food Output +10 and Slave Mineral Output +10%. The other one's 10% as well. Of course, anything involving slaves. I've never had a lot of luck playing slaving empires. Everybody hates you because, in fact, you are slavers, and then a federation jumps on top of you, etc. Although 10% and on both food and mineral is quite good, so, and is in some degree authoritarian. Inwards Perfection, monthly unity +30% and citizen pop happiness +30. You need to be pacifistic, and you need to be a xenophobe. You need to be a xenophobic. Hold on, let me take a look here. It's pacifist and xenophobe. And how the hell does this even work? Pacifist and xenophobe. How would that even work? I am unsure on what the idea behind that is, but you're basically, oh, we don't want to fight anybody, but we hate your guts. That's basically the idea there. But it's, in all honesty, a Unity production of +30 and citizen happiness is pretty damn amazing, to say the least. More than anything, they would like to be left alone. Warrior Culture, army damage and upkeep by 20%. At least damage plus, upkeep minus. I don't like armies at all in the current version of the game. I think in the current version of the game, 1.5.1, I think it's terrible. You can just drop whatever armies on a planet and just bomb them from orbit and be done with it. Distinguished Admiralty, fire rate +8. Oh my god, 8% fire rate. That's pretty good. That's basically, I believe the fire rate modifier for an admiral is 8% as well, so it basically stacks on top of that. You need to be militarist. Pretty good. If you want to go to war early on, or if you are in a war and you're like, I need a little bit more firepower to deal with these Xenos, swap it in just to get it. Free Haven, migration attraction +50%. If you want to get a lot of pops from a lot of different empires and basically get your Pokemon collection ready, then this is the way to go. You need to be xenophile for this one. Corporate Dominion, Empire Energy Generation +10%. You need to be egalitarian and oligarchic. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Agrarian Idyll. Farms produce 1 unity. You need to be pacifistic, you should not be authoritarian, and you should not be fanatic authoritarian. My god, this is overpowered as hell. The amount of unity you can generate with this is completely staggering, but you need to be pacifistic. So that is the thing. Nationalistic Zeal, border range +10%, maximum rivalries +1. Great for generating additional influence, especially additional border range. You can do a lot of cool stuff with this here. Maximum rivalries obviously generate influence for you, but it makes whoever your rival hate your guts. So there's that. Aristocratic Elite, governor recruitment cost -4%. 50%, my apologies, and Empire leader capacity +4. So that's all leaders. Governor recruitment cost is great. This is a great option for those that want to min-max as many planets as possible and have leaders on it. Governors give all sorts of crazy bonuses that you definitely want on your planets, and you can put them in sectors as well, so you can get flat bonuses on that for happiness, etc. Mechanists, this is one of the special ones, which is only available in Utopia. You start the game with 4 pops, and 4 pops are robots. You start with robot technology as well as the power armor or the power worker technology. Robot maintenance cost -5%. May not seem like a lot, but once you have an empire with thousands upon thousands of robots, you may look the other way because, this calls for all robots, and synths are incredibly expensive to upkeep, so there you go. 5% goes a long way. You cannot have syncretic evolution to pick this. And finally, we get to Fanatic Purifiers. So they cannot engage in diplomacy with other species. Exclamation mark there. Xenopops will always be purged. And for every single species you purge, you will get unity. Isn't that crazy? They may use Armageddon Bombardment Stance. Armageddon Bombardment Stance is a upgrade from the full Bombardment Stance. It does not generate Exterminatus. You cannot glass a planet. It's just an upgrade from the full bombardment mode. Fire rate increased by 33%. Army damage increased by 33%. Fire rate plus 33 is here twice for some reason, and as well as army damage. I'm not entirely sure what's up with that. Attrition cost from Xenoslave, minus 100%. Xenoslaves are going to get purged instantly anyway. You cannot have syncretic evolution because that's another species, so you cannot have that. So once you start doing some ethical drifting here, it becomes a problem because your civics will become inactive. If you have different types of, well, it says at the bottom here, civics that do not fulfill their requirements to become, well, will not require these requirements, they will become inactive. I will not provide any of their bonuses. So if you want to keep these and keep their bonuses, you need to stay with your ethics. If not, you need to swap them out. The same thing goes for some of these empire modifiers. In the game, you can easily swap them out. No problem. You still have to pay the civic tax in order to get it out. And did you know that you can get a third civic? Oh yeah, let's have a chat about that, shall we? So, as you are in the game and you are going your way through the tech tree, in society, you will find yourself Galactic Administration. Galactic Administration allows you to unlock another civic slot. Yes, indeed, another civic slot will be available to you. Of course, it is capped by the type of ethics you have, so that's kind of important to keep your eye on. So let's go and get out of this menu and actually add another civic if I have the resources available for it. So as you are on this screen, through the government screen, the hotkey for that is obviously F11. There's a button here called Reform Government, which is incredibly innocuous, and it's not really straightforward that this thing is actually here, because whoever goes to this friggin' field, this menu, I very rarely do, just to see the modifiers maybe, but that's it. Anyway, let's click Reform Government, and now we get into this menu, which means that we can change our authority if we want to, but also add a new civic or remove a civic. So, for instance, if we want to remove a civic here and we want to add one, it's totally possible. We can even remove some of the civics from the start of the game. So, efficient bureaucracy, we can get rid of that if we really want to. Should we? Probably not. But then we have the option to take whatever, like mining guilds. You want to get Empire mineral production up by 10%? Boom, you got it. 250 influence. There you go. Aristocratic elite for that recruitment costs on governors. Absolutely amazing. There you go. Mining guilds, as we talked about already. Cutthroat politics, which is the one that I picked as the third one because of the influence bonuses that I need. Technocracy, etc. Citizen servants, also very nice. And there's a whole bunch of them that are not available to me because I am not egalitarian or pacifistic in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, this is a general overview of civics and how they work, and of course, this third civic, which is hidden away in a little button in a menu that nobody ever goes to. I hope this was informative to you and that you have a good idea how to use civics now and which ones that you would like to pick in the future. And of course, getting that elusive third civic. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other.